Julia's Bookstore, written by Sarah McGuire. Chapter 3. 10 Hut. 10 Hut, says Sergeant General Walsh at the Nashville, Tennessee Army Post 433. Patience Wilkins wasn't his child yet. So why would he do that? The answer wasn't plain, for he desired to terminate it within her instead. For he would place it underneath MK Ultra, which is a form of mind control. Patient's thoughts then floated back to Far Rockaway, Queens, whence she had recalled growing up in a white, burnt-down house down by Beach 24th Street. He drew a satanic symbol underneath the child's bed. Captain Wilkins, whom was Patient's birth dad, had no idea what his counterpart, Sergeant General Walsh, had been up to. Patience Wilkins was only age 7 at the time. Patience then pointed her little finger in the middle of the ground as her thoughts began to ravel. Patience then properly named herself the wrong person. However, Patience did say that she should be the right person in front of everyone at school. While during fourth period, the bell will ring. A dead frog was found in her fourth grade classmate's sacred project. Patience also slipped a note into her fourth grade chemistry teacher's desk. While during third period, Patience Wilkins also eavesdropped upon Mrs. Stewart's fiancé and his mistress, whom then dropped a note into his left pocket, which then dropped onto the ground. Patience Wilkins then picked up the note, which had belonged to Mr. Bradford's mistress. Patience then slipped the note into her fourth grade chemistry teacher's desk. Mrs. Stewart then looked down gracefully as a single tear fell down from her eye, as she then found the note from her fiancé's mistress. Patience also did a fine number on the boys' baseball team. For a pair of cleats which was sold in only dirt was now replaced by dog droppings. Jonathan's pants lit up the entire stadium. Therefore, Patience Wilkins had made a complete fool out of him. Patience also wrote a note which told of a flood in Far Rockaway. Well, then it happened. The flood did. Was it the satanic symbol? Maybe so. Or it could have been simply God himself, because forget about Sergeant General Walsh's plans. He saw a perfect gift from within her still. Now, back to the Nashville, Tennessee Army Post 433. Patience Wilkins' mother was a saint. Her dad was even better. Yes, even her Jehovah's Witness family were too perfect, for they took her out to eat to KFC and to bowling. So what then was wrong with Patience's upbringing? The answer was Sergeant General Walsh still, for he had drew a satanic symbol underneath the child's bed. Mr. Wilkins was a fortunate man to have had her. Not her, Patience. For his wife, Mrs. Wilkins, had begged God that even though she shall marry, that she shall remain untouched. Therefore, he knew that he only married her for love. Thou he had all his fun while prior to dating her. Thou most of them were pure and faithful women. If bridges had been broken, they would have sailed along to someone new, which Miss Stewart wouldn't have done either, for she would have remained not only faithful to Mrs. Wilkins, but to Mr. Wilkins as well, faithful to God. The Wilkins was a perfect family, so perfect that they thought that nothing at all could be wrong with the word. They would soon find out that it was plenty. Nashville, Tennessee Army Post 433. Patience Wilkins resided with her dad there in the year of 1989. As Mr. and Mrs. Wilkins took one another by their hands, as they slowly walked into the Tier 2, where they both laid their perfect eyes upon their daughter, whom was strapped to what looked like more of an electric chair, with Sergeant General Walsh attempting to pull the switch. Julia's Bookstore, written by Sarah Micaiah. Julia's Bookstore, written by Sarah Micaiah. Chapter 4. Julia's Upbringing. The West Islip Junior High School was about within 12 feet of the Central Islip Elementary School, whence Julia had attended. Julia had held a best friend by the name of Deborah, who was a pale Irish girl with crossed eyes and a tongue tie. Julia also held a childhood bully by the name of Rashida, whom had plans of phoning Deborah after class. As she pulled the heavy school doors aside, all one could smell is the scent of ravioli mixed with chicken patties, which fumed from the school's cafeteria. One can also smell the smell of the ladies of the hall and their fine fragrances, as well as the vice principal and his unique scent, which smelled of onions because of his breath. One can also smell the smell of the janitor's work, which was fresh pine sol throughout the entire hall. Rashida then punched Deborah dead in her nose as blood began to drench out. The blue heavy school doors then swung open as Julia then jumped in the fight, as Rashida instantly let go of Deborah and lunged towards Julia. Rashida was a 200-pound bully at only age 12. She also held crossed eyes, as well as favored Mr. Potato Head. Rashida also held a bowed leg. Rashida then began to swing Julia back and forth by her stringy long hair as her tan skin became red again. Back and forth, back and forth. Julia then began to suffocate Julia with her scent of fish, which drowned out the entire fresh smells of the school halls. Julia knew that eventually this had to be over with. Julia was correct about this, for Deborah looked on as Rashida threw Julia outside down onto the pavement. Julia then let go of Rashida's scent as she began to smell the scent of the sun instead, which was burning down on the school swings, the school iron swings, and the rubber slides. Rashida's mother was then called up. There was a mediation for the two girls after class. Rashida then began to act kinder towards Julia while during the mediation, whence Julia began to feel a whole lot better inside concerning Rashida. Yes, even Rashida's aura became more gentle. However, Principal Hughes did not buy it. He suspended Rashida, as well as added that Deborah was one of the most innocent children he has ever laid his heart upon. Julia still felt it unlawful that Principal Hughes had suspended Rashida. Julia then began to act concerned, and though it was not a plea, Julia had begun to suddenly earn favor from Rashida while standing up for her. Julia's Bookstore, written by Sarah Micaiah. Chapter 4. Julia's Bookstore.